Our Collision 2017 coverage is proudly powered by Monster Products. Find the headphones and speakers that match your style at PLUGHITZlive.com/monster. We have our first guest here. Hello.
Why, hello. My name is Bill Sangstacken. I'm pleased that you guys had me on as a first guest.
Yes.
The bar has been set so incredibly low for the next few people. I myself wonder if I can cross it, but I'll try to cross my own low bar. I'm in marketing, so just before you ask me all the really hard technical questions about what I'm going to talk about, understand I'm in marketing. So when I smile and nod, that means I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's okay.
It's just how it works.
That's okay. We actually set our team up such that we have high tech and high consumer. So we're ready to have both conversations.
Okay, this may bore both sides. This is going to be really good. This is a really good test case for you guys. I'm pleased to be part of this. So where do you want to start with this?
So give us a quick rundown of what the product is.
Okay.
It's data interaction, right?
Yeah, to a degree. What we've released is the Cinchapi Data Platform, and it's really designed for data analysts and data scientists who are looking for a more intuitive and efficient way to work with a vast array of different kinds of data.
Okay.
The problem we're really trying to solve, if you think about it, before a data analyst can start looking for the answer to the question you have, sometimes they actually have to ask, well, what are you actually trying to find? You know,
Sure.
it's like you're looking for something without even knowing what it is you're looking for. So that's a very time-consuming process. First, you got to do the data preparation, then you got to do the cleanup, then you got to analyze all these different things and try to figure out what correlations are there, what relationships are there patterns or anomalies that don't make any sense that warrant more investigation. So the way we solve this is by combining machine learning with human intelligence. The machine learning handles the data prep and the cleanup, making sense of all what you got, and then kind of exposes those things that warrant more interesting or are more interesting and warrant human investigation. So
Okay.
if you think about it from just the data analyst's point of view, they will tell you they spend about 80% of their time doing data prep and cleanup before they can even get into the nitty-gritty of analyzing the data.
Right.
So imagine if every time you wanted to mow your lawn, there was 4 days of preparation before you mowed the lawn. How much fun would that be?
Not just emotional preparation, which of course would be my problem, getting up the energy to actually do it.
I know.
But like tuning all of the parts and pieces that go around the lawnmower, not even the lawnmower itself, but all the stuff that go around the lawnmower.
Oh, I
Prepping
know.
the
The
lawn?
beer you have to buy.
Pulling the rocks out of the lawn is a lot of work.
I mean,
4 days worth of all of that stuff before you can even touch the lawnmower.
And let's be honest, you really don't even want to touch the lawnmower.
Especially not at that point.
No, I mean, laziness is its own reward. I mean, let's be honest. I'm willing to let the grass grow a lot higher before I have to do it. But let's stop talking about lawnmowers and start talking about data, because to use another analogy, data to me is like a pile of lumber. I mean, if you don't do anything with it, what value does it give you?
Sure.
Absolutely nothing. So everyone's talking about big data. We got to have a big data strategy. We got to figure out what's going on. Okay, well, here's all your data. What are you going to do with it? It's like pretend I have a bunch of boxes full of paper, and it's like, and there's your answer. Go find it.
Right.
That's really not too helpful. But if
You're going through a room full of file cabinets, and somewhere in there is the answer to your question.
yeah.
But how do you get to it? That is always the data problem. How do you get to the answer to the question with all of the stuff that you have to deal with?
Exactly. I mean, because, let's say now, I am a data geek. I'm not, but let's pretend I am. I would now write some crazy SQL query in an effort to solve for X. That's how I would do it. But I'm not a data expert. But I do have an interest in what's in the data. I work in marketing. I want to see what's going on.
Sure.
So what if I could just say, show me what's going on in Cleveland today? And the platform would automatically know that I have an operation in Cleveland, that my job's in marketing, so contextually understands what I mean by what's going on, means I want to see a sales report.
Sure.
And let's say I want to maybe not get the 30-day report. How would we do that in real life? You'd say, Bill, show me the 90-day report, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's exactly what you do here. You do a follow-up question the same way. Show me the 90-day report. Hit Shift Enter, boom. It understands the context of the first question and then answers the second question based on the first one. So it starts building and building and building some actual brains, if you will, within the platform. And
so it's running on natural language processing.
Yeah, but it's not like the me Tarzan, you Jane kind of natural language processing that a lot of people have. You don't have to type in sales report Cleveland 30 days, which is theoretically that's natural language,
I
but
don't
let's
know
be
about
really,
that.
is that really natural? Who talks like that? Okay, I won't mention the White House. But most people don't talk that way.
We're talking more like Cortana style, right?
Exactly.
Hey, Cortana, tell me a joke.
Exactly.
Right.
And
then when she's done, tell me another one.
Exactly.
She knows that she told you a joke, and she's going to tell you another one.
Exactly.
That's the kind of follow-ups that we're talking about here.
Conceptual. I mean, and then, you want to get a result, and because I asked this nice, easy, understood question, I don't want to get a spreadsheet back full of numbers and gobbledygook.
Right.
I'm in marketing. I want pretty graphs. I want pictures. I want somebody to tell me a story. That's what I want because, again, laziness is its own reward. I don't want to have to do all that work later. So we have our analytics engine builds in the ability to visualize all these things on the fly. Okay. And right now we have 17 different types of charts we can offer up, and we're working on new ones. We're working on a heat map visualization and all this other stuff. So you're going to get all these beautiful pictures, and, well, it's kind of hard to see, but there are pictures right here that, if you could see them, they would look really impressive. They're very impressive pictures. Go to Cinchapi.com and look at our video, and you can see the incredible visual power of our solution.
There are some, because I've obviously had that card in my hand, there are some really interesting ways of displaying information. I liked the point cloud that's on the...
Yeah, and it's really hard to see, but if you can imagine a spider web connecting different people in a company, the question you would ask then, show me the people who have been working at a company for a long time.
Sure.
And long time is kind of relative to what? Well, we already established that long time for us is more than a year.
Right.
Okay, so then you get that nice little chart, okay? But then you want to drill down, so your follow-up question might be, okay, show me the ones who worked at PLUGHITZ, and then that narrows it down much further.
Sure.
And what's really interesting about this is when you're not just looking at one data source, okay? We could connect you to all different kinds of data sources. So, what's happening on social media may dramatically impact what's going to happen in marketing because an influencer out there is tweeting about that cool hat you're wearing, and the next thing you know, the guy who makes that hat now has to order a whole bunch of hats because there's a run on it. So you want to be able to connect these pieces together so you can really see a 360 view of everything that's going on. Because too often data is siloed, all right? You got your marketing data, you got your sales data, finance
data. You've got some stuff in Microsoft Dynamics, some of it's in a MySQL server, and then you've got Twitter, and they're so unrelated to one another.
Absolutely. And yet you, either as a data analyst or a data scientist or me as a marketer, have somehow got to connect these dots in a way that makes sense.
As a person, you don't care what the source is.
Yeah.
You want to get it to a place where you can do something with it.
Exactly.
You want to make decisions. That's right. When all is said and done, data is all about trying to make decisions.
Yeah, exactly. It's doing the best with the information you have at hand. Now, when you get to that giant pile of big data we were talking about before, I mean, it's massive. I mean, it's just so much to go through to try to figure out what it is you're looking for. So by able to use machine learning so it actually understands what all that data means, and then you as a human being type a simple question like, show me what's going on in Cleveland today, and it does all the hard work for you, translates that into a data call, pulls up the information that's relevant, exposes things that may or may not have been seen by you ever before.
Sure.
And let's not just talk about the good things like sales are going up, but let's talk about bad things like what happened to Target a couple of years ago when people were hacking into their systems.
Right.
It took them 8 months before they figured out what was going on.
Right.
Now, I don't know about you, but personally, when somebody's robbing me, I'd like to do something about it now rather than 8 months from now and say, well, you know what the problem was? Locking the door. We should have locked it. That's what it was. We didn't lock the door. So now we know in the future we're always going to lock the door. Problem solved. Sorry we lost $8 billion customers, but we're going to lock the doors in the future. That's their solution. I mean, it all sounds great when they put this press release. Oh, we found out our problem, and hey, don't worry, you're going to get free credit monitoring for a year because that's how much we care about you guys.
And as soon as that press release goes out, the people who have the credit information know to wait 12 months in a day.
Well, I mean, let's be realistic, too. I mean, hackers are not stupid. It's not like they're going to keep doing the exact same thing again and again and again. Until somebody figures out a way to stop it, they might. But once
I was just saying, I don't know, because the exact same thing that happened at Target is what happened to Home Depot. So.
Well, it happened to Wendy's, too. But my point being is pay cash. No, my real point being is once you find out the problem, you can fix it. But if you can't figure out what the problem is, it's really hard to do anything about it. And this, the good thing about data is it's always there, but it's always changing. It's always evolving. It's always different.
Yeah.
What was true 5 minutes ago may not necessarily be true right now.
Right.
And we were talking earlier
because the weather changes all the time.
The weather always changes. Availability of inventory always changes.
Yep.
Right.
Where your trucks are out on the road always changes.
Right.
You know, whether you're selling those. Remember when Crocs were really popular?
No.
Those plastic
I
slippers.
don't remember that.
I choose not to remember that either. But my friend Nakia, there was a time where those things were popular. Everybody had to have a pair. I don't know why they wanted their feet to smell so bad and be orange, but hey, they wore them a lot. Anyway, but suddenly
I'm
sales go down.
glad that this is the way our day started.
Yes.
Because everything's going downhill after this.
You're fun.
You're going to have like a series of boring interviews after this. You're going to be
I
like,
hope
man,
not.
let's just talk about Cinchapi some more. And
gonna
it'll
bring
be
you
like,
back.
what's a Cinchapi? And then you guys are going to do my sales pitch.
Exactly.
And everyone's going to buy our product.
So what kind of data can we bring into this? Can I, like, if I've got an old Unix server running DBase, can I give you a connection string and you guys can deal with it?
We absolutely can. There's absolutely positively no kind of data that we cannot work with, presuming we can connect to it. So
Okay.
the permissions have to be available
Sure.
to us. I mean, we're not just going to go into your competitor's database to steal out their data unless you pay us a really lot of money. I mean, buckets of money. Then we'll
Hackers
talk.
aren't stupid.
Lots of money. That's what I'm looking for, really. At the end of the day, I'm in marketing. The ethics guy, he's not here today. But seriously, you know, there's so many different kinds of data sources from, you know, whatever Uncle Bob created 25 years ago when he started the company and you're still using that database.
To a Twitter API.
To a Twitter API.
With a hashtag search or a geolocation search.
Exactly. I mean,
Okay.
whatever it is you're talking about, whether it's social media, whether it's accounting, whether it's marketing, sales, inventory, transportation, logistics, all of those are different data sources. And as you get more and more into real-time data, then the kinds of data sources also evolve. And anybody who's talking about IoT data right now, guess what? You're talking about real-time data.
Right.
Do you want to wait 8 months after that refrigerator truck goes belly up to find out that load of Kobe beef is not edible? No. You don't want to wait 8 months.
Because you don't want to be the next one having to call the grocery stores and doing a recall.
Right.
Well,
right?
Well, this is a jobs program. You hire somebody to do that for you. No, but seriously, you're right. I mean, the PR issue is right there. I mean, did Target really want to get hacked? No, they did not.
Sure.
Does a transportation company want refrigerator trucks going belly up?
Right.
No, they do not. You know, there's all these little pieces. But with IoT data in particular, there's really no standard to the way the data is presented to anybody. It's whatever.
That is for sure.
Whatever the manufacturer decides is a good thing is what you're going to get.
In this firmware version.
Yeah, in that firmware version, exactly. This could change. We don't know because
firmware version to firmware version, Zergo hardware, their structure changes.
I was going to
sometimes wildly.
I was going to say exactly that, but let's remember I'm in marketing, so I wasn't going to really say that. But seriously, the point's valid, though. I mean, the stuff is not standard. It's changing. It's evolving. So how can a reasonable human being keep up with it? There are two ways of doing it. One is to hire a bunch of data analysts. That costs money and it takes time. Or you find a solution that takes advantage of machine learning, combines it with human intelligence, and hey, now it becomes relatively easy to deal with. So you can combine that IoT data with your location data, with your weather data, with your HR data, because you got to have drivers for these trucks, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's another factor to be pulled in. All of these things could factor into how you're going to route these trucks more efficiently. You know, are you going to pull a vehicle off the road because the sensor's kind of gone wonky, and maybe now is a good time to get it serviced? There are just so many different ways to use data, but people just think, as long as I have big data, I've solved my problem. No, that's like saying, I've got the phone book. I'm sure my wife is in here somewhere.
Right.
You know, good luck.
It actually almost makes the problem worse if you just have the data and no way to deal with it.
Exactly. I mean, going back to that pile of lumber analogy, eventually termites are going to get in there, infestation issues come to play, and what have you done? You spent a whole bunch of money for something that's sitting in a pile that you really can't use.
Doing nothing.
Yeah.
The whole way through this, I've been thinking about Tate's Comics. and right?
Right.
So they're a partner of ours.
Oh.
And Nikia works there. They're the largest comic shop in the Southeast, right?
Southeast, largest.
So I'm seeing traffic sensors, right, through the store, door ring sensors,
Yep.
weather data,
Mm-hmm.
inventory data, your staffing, and based on knowing what kind of weather is coming up in the past, rain. Believe it or not, in retail, it's the weirdest thing. Rain makes retail better.
Yes.
So it's going to rain. So Tate and Joe know that they need an extra person on the floor on that day.
Because we're going to have extra people.
Right, exactly. So just as simple as that, you could feed all of that information into the system and be able to make decisions like there are going to be this many. We predict there will be this many people in the store. You should probably have an extra person.
Yeah, that's a simplified use case, but absolutely one that's viable. We can connect with any enterprise automation solution out there. So let's say, for example, you have a CRM system out there, and normally you want to send a message to your customers when you have a big sale or something going on.
Sure.
Well, what if a particular customer was tweeting about your product? Wouldn't you like to reach out to that guy directly at that moment and when he's most interested in your product with some kind of special or something like that? So you could monitor like anybody who's tweeting about your things, your hashtags, whatever, and connect that to your customer database and say, okay, Johnny at 2YZ is the same person as John Smith who buys a lot of our stuff. So he just tweeted about our comic books today. And because he did that, we're going to automatically send him a voucher for 10% off his next order if he does it within the next 36. Something like that. So give him like boom, 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 reason to buy, shop right now.
Sure.
That's the kind of thing that can easily be done with our solution.
Okay.
To go a little bit more complicated, I mean, if you're talking about transportation and logistics supply chain, okay, let's pretend that the remember Nintendo released the retro version of the game, whatever, this year, and there were shortages all over the place. Everybody wanted one because it was short. Well, they could have predicted that, and they probably did it intentionally. But let's pretend that they really did want to meet the demand. Okay, we're getting all these sales orders in, which means we need to order all this plastic, all this other stuff, the supply chain, all that stuff has to go back to the beginning of the manufacturing process to ensure that by this date we have product in store on the shelves to meet the demand.
Right.
Those are the sort of things that are really, they sound easy to do, but when you're dealing with multiple SKUs and multiple partners and multiple retailers and multiple transportation systems.
When you're talking about building a physical thing, there are so many people and disconnected suppliers involved in that that it's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And you could even pinpoint to the exact, we need this 300 here over this location. We need 6,000 over here in this location.
Sure. So GameStop could then, on the end of that, take their incoming data on Nintendo and see which stores have been selling the most and be able to push. Using that Nintendo, that NES Classic, we can take it all the way through GameStop and to the consumer and decide what stores to best push the inventory to.
True. And to use your weather analogy earlier, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when it's pouring out rain, I'm not mowing the lawn that day. I'm definitely in the man cave playing the Xbox.
Sure.
So, it may make more sense to ship more product to the Northeast, where it's going to be snowing a lot more during the wintertime, than the Southeast, where it's going to be warm and theoretically we go outside and mow lawns. But I have an issue with mowing lawns.
and
don't we all?
And it sounds like you're possibly from the Southeast.
I am. We're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from the Northeast, which is why I don't have that crazy accent. I have a different kind of crazy accent.
Fair enough.
But anyway, what I'm getting at is there's all sorts of variations. I mean, not every two people are going to be motivated by the exact same thing.
Fair enough.
Right. Those people who are motivated by Ashton Kutcher's tweets may not be as motivated by, say, I'm trying to think of that famous scientist, and I'm losing.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Thank you. Neil deGrasse Tyson is on Twitter all the time, but I think they have two different kinds of audiences. Just because somebody out there is tweeting about your product doesn't necessarily mean that the people are going to jump off on it. So whatever. So again, these are
because Neil deGrasse Tyson is an influencer on some things doesn't make him an influencer on everything.
True. Right. True. I mean, and not to say that our country's polarized, but I hear that it is. And apparently, some people who tweet stuff get the exact opposite reaction of what they want based on their tweets than other
Sure.
people who tweet stuff. Who knew?
Huh.
This is all news to me. Did you hear Donald Trump is our president?
Huh.
I know.
I hadn't heard that.
I know.
I'm going back to bed.
Every
I
few
don't know why
minutes.
this stuff doesn't get out.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that every few minutes, everywhere.
Well, it's been nice.
Hey, the black helicopters are here. That's awesome.
They found us.
So what else can I tell you about
So
our
the platform is available now?
It is.
Okay.
It has been launched for a month and a half, so
Okay.
I'm not going to pretend that it is a final
Sure.
version. We're constantly iterating new features. In fact, just this week we released a new version that has 3 features that were not included before. We have recommended searches, so based on what you tend to be looking for, it will say, would you like to look at this?
Okay.
It also has insight detection, which allows you to it kind of customize based on what you are typing in historically. Like, I bet this visualization would be really useful for you. Let's take a look at bubbles as an example,
Sure.
a bubble chart.
Okay.
And the last thing we're doing, we've enhanced our enterprise automation aspect of it, so we can work with more third-party solutions
Okay.
to trigger workforce automation pieces. Like one we're doing right now using Slack. Let's say that you are monitoring some data, but you don't want to literally hover over the computer all day waiting for data to change.
Sure.
Anyway, anytime there's a change in the data that you feel is important enough to warrant you, it'll message you through Slack and say, take a look at it now,
Oh,
take a
okay.
look at it now. Little things like that just make it really easy to use
Wonderful.
our platform. Oh, one piece I didn't mention, we talked about all these ways of finding all these disparate data pieces
Sure.
and how they're all connected. All right, now that you've figured out there's a connection between this data source and this data source and this data source, wouldn't you like to be able to rewind time and see how that was created in the first place? And then watch as it evolves over time? Now, this is really cool if you're worried about fraud, but it's also really cool if you're trying to figure out, okay, how did we sell 500 buggy whips in Cleveland last week? What was that all about? And then you could actually go back in time and see what happened. Oh, well, there was a interesting story in a newspaper about a lady with a
Okay.
dress.
Okay.
and that's how buggy whips went up in sales that day. So these are the things that are always being asked of data scientists. How did this happen? What is going on? How can I solve this problem? What can we do differently in the future?
Sure.
As if all they have is a magic wand to wave and voila, they're going to give you the answer. It takes a lot of work for a data analyst and a data scientist to give you that stuff. But what we're trying to do is use technology to make it easier for them to do their job so they can be more efficient, get you the answer you're looking for now, and also be able to power some really cool stuff through the automation pieces and otherwise tell you what's going on with all of your data as opposed to some of your data.
That's really cool. So what kind of price range are we looking at for a service like this?
Yeah, we start off on a per node basis, and we're right around 10K per node.
Okay.
And the more you use it, the more nodes you need,
Right.
and it builds out from there. Now, we're a startup, of course, so that's all subject to negotiation.
Of course.
They always is, but it's a nice round number to start with.
Sure.
In fact, if you want to give me $10,000, anybody, we could talk about anything right now. I'm very motivated by the money. No, but we
Marketing guy, no kidding.
well, we've had a lot of success. 2 weeks ago, we won the Atlanta Startup Battle, and we got a
Nice.
so that was cool. We were up against 400 other companies,
Wow.
and knocked that out of the park.
That's
So we're doing the
awesome.
pitch competition here too. So we're hopeful that we'll win that as well. But really, we're just trying to get some publicity around what we're trying to do. Let people know what Cinchapi's all about, how it can help you with your data problems in a way that nobody else is doing. I mean, does anybody really want to learn how to do SQL queries? Anybody? No?
I know
see your
them.
hand up.
I know them well.
Oh.
They're fun, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
It's like doing a jigsaw puzzle upside down with a rope around your neck.
Uh-huh.
It's that kind of enjoyment.
Yes,
That's not-
exactly.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
It's better than regular expressions though.
I don't know. I like English expressions. Ooh, did you see what I did there?
So if people want more information about your platform, how can they get it?
They should go to cinchapi.com. That's CINCHAPI.com. It really means, initially we thought cinch as in simple and APIs, but really we're a database company, so that's why we call it Cinchapi. But I like it from a marketing point of view because it's a short URL.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if it was like dataplatformsolutionsforyou.com
We
with a couple of hyphens in there?
We struggle on a regular basis to figure out how to get the right short URLs when we come out with new shows. So yes, I totally understand.
Yeah, so cinchapi.com. Also, that's our Twitter handle, so you can
Okay.
follow us at Cinchapi. We also have an open source database if anybody just wants to play with the database component
Oh,
of our
wow.
solution. That's called Concourse, and you can get that for free at Concourse DB, D as in dog, B as in boy, db.com. And I would highly encourage anybody who wants to try some of the cooler pieces of our component. Not the natural language, but
Sure.
the ability to rewind time and see how that works. All right, now I am going to geek out a little bit. If you're familiar with the CAP theorem, there are two kinds of databases, highly available or highly or strongly consistent. Ours is a strongly consistent database.
Okay.
So if you're looking for high availability, look elsewhere. But if you want to work with definitive data, and you want to make sure that the value you're looking at is the accurate value to the nanosecond, that's why you want to use the strongly consistent database.
Okay.
And that's what Concourse is. Our solution as a whole is not intended to replace anybody's database. The way it works is we stream in others' data, we examine it, and then we store it into our database, and that's how we can rewind time and everything. Does not impact your operational stuff at all. So anybody who's thinking, oh, he wants us to get rid of Oracle, that's not going to happen. You're right, it's not going to happen. You're
Well,
fine.
as a software developer, I want you to get rid of Oracle, but that's a different topic.
I highly suggest you listen to this man. I can't say that, but you can say that.
$250,000 a year per core. No.
What a bargain. How does Larry Ellison live?
On a yacht.
Very well, apparently. Apparently, very, very well. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
I believe he races yachts now.
Yacht racing.
Yeah.
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 He's of the people.
Whatever. Anyway, I actually think I have encountered the database in my wanderings
Oh,
recently.
really?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well-
not related to preparing for the show at all, so that's fascinating.
Well, that's actually great. I'm going to tell Jeff Nelson, our founder and CEO, that I found a native user, and he's going to be excited. And then I'll have to tell him, no, not a Native American, a guy who just found it in the wild. he gets pretty excited about things, and if I don't tell him specifically, you know.
Very detailed.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to come talk to us
Hey,
today.
it was a lot of
this
fun.
This is a really cool product that obviously has a lot of uses.
Absolutely. Although initially we don't want to try to be all things to all people,
Sure.
but certainly if somebody with a data problem, whether it's inventory issues, sales, marketing, places like that, we feel it's a very good fit. Anybody who wants to work with data without becoming an uber geek, I think that's a pretty good fit.
Yeah.
And the price point, if you're a small to mid-sized business with a data problem, you cannot hire a team of data analysts. It's a pretty good solution for you
Sure.
as well.
Absolutely.
Well, alrighty.
Well, good luck
Well,
in the
thanks,
pitch
guys.
competition.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
And
I appreciate
congratulations on the Atlanta win.
Well,
That's
thank you
awesome.
as well.
And have a good rest of the week.
it. I appreciate it, guys, and you guys have a good show. And if I see you out and about, you can buy me a beer.
Sweet.
Oh, wait, I was supposed to buy you a beer. Whatever. I always
Something
screw
like that.
part up.
If Crocs come back into style, it's your fault, and I'm going to hunt you down.
That's what I heard.
I'm not saying I'm a user or a wearer. I'm just saying it was really weird how those things caught on.
Indeed.
I just don't get it. Hey, let's put some rubber on our shoes. Yeah, comfy.
Have a good one.
All right, take care,
Thank
guys.
Okay. So obviously, from a software engineer standpoint, I see lots of places
Oh, yeah.
to implement it.
You are in love,
Yes.
and it's amazing.
I have a client right now that this would be a great next step for their data. And when he said IoT stuff, I'm like, well, this is a total win. But it's not just, companies that are processing hundreds of millions of GPS points a day, which is what I'm looking at. It's Tates.
Yeah.
It's something not small. I wouldn't call him small.
No.
But certainly not. They're not, Best Buy, right? It's a small retailer. 2 locations. It could be used to determine which store certain books should go to on a more
Definitely.
regular basis.
Right.
Maybe the smaller store has more interest in Spider-Man than the big store. So
Right.
you start pushing them that direction.
Yeah. It's
Lots of usages all over the place.
I was surprised at that.